and welcome back to Age Perfect Beauty. So the products that you place on your skin prior to your makeup application can make a huge difference into how your makeup looks and how long it lasts throughout the day. But with so many products on the market, from serums to moisturizers to sunscreens to primers, how do you know which products are the right products for your skin? How do you know you're not wasting your money on products you actually don't really need? So in today's video, I'm going to be demonstrating how I prepare my own face for makeup. And in addition to that, I'm also going to be covering how I prepare my clients' faces. For those of you who are not aware, I'm a professional makeup artist and hairstylist. I've been in the industry for many years, and I also own a mobile beauty service that provides mobile beauty services to women who are 40 and over. So I've got quite a bit of experience when it comes to prepping the skin of the more mature woman. Whether you have oilier skin all the way through to very dry skin, we're going to be discussing that today. Talk about the different products that you can use, how you layer them properly, what's good, what's not. We're going to get into all of that today. So let's begin. I'm going to start with the most basic thing, which is face cleansing. Now, obviously, you need to take your makeup off at night. I can't stress that enough, and that's for another video. But this particular video is that you wake up in the morning and you've not washed your face yet, but you want to prepare your face for makeup. So you want to start with a nice gentle cleanser, whether that be a nice gel cleanser, a cream cleanser, whatever really works for you and doesn't make your skin feel like it's going to be too tight. It's more about whatever is regenerated over the evening, dead skin cells, that type of thing, getting that off your face so that you have a really clean canvas to start with. Now I'm going to go in with one of my favorites. It's a Niode creamy cleanser, and I'm going to definitely screw up the name of this, called Sunscreen Saponins. It comes out like a paste. I've shown this in one of my other videos that I will put up here for you as well, so you can see this product a little bit more detail. But this is what it looks like, and I'm going to just rub my hands together. I'm going to add just a little bit of water, turn that into a bit of a paste, and then I just do a quick cleanse of my face. This doesn't have to take a long time. You can, if you have the time, you could do a little facial massage at this point just to get the blood circulating. But right now, I'm just looking to clean my face properly. I like to use face cloth. In the UK, they call it flannels. But just a nice soft face cloth just to get off my cleanser. And you'll notice I have quite a bit of red in my skin naturally, so just doing anything like this can cause my skin to get a little bit red. But it tones down, calms down quite quickly. Okay? Now, when it comes to toning, I'm not a big fan of toning for my skin personally, and I don't use it on my clients either. It's really good for balancing out your skin, and I know a lot of women love it, and if you love toning, then this is the time to be applying your toner. For me, I don't like it because it always aggravates my skin in some way, especially the older I've gotten. I find a lot of them have alcohol in it, which is drying, and then if they don't have alcohol in it, they'll have some kind of fragrance, and it just irritates my skin. So I really make sure I cleanse my face properly, and then I move on from there. All right, now that we've got our face cleansed, let's just have a short discussion about exfoliation, because I know it's not something that every woman does. From just talking to my own clients, I know that's not something that a lot of women do, or they used to do and they've stopped now that they've gotten older. So exfoliation is very important, because without a nice surface, the makeup that you put on top of your skin will never really look good. You'll have like little patches, little dry patches. And I'm probably going to be repeating this as we go on here, but a lot of times women are blaming the makeup itself when it's really not the makeup's problem. It could be the products that you're putting underneath, or it could be that the skin itself has not been prepped properly. So exfoliation is something that I do once a week. I do it when I'm not going to be, it's usually in the evening when I'm, I give the night time to regenerate my skin. I get quite red. Sometimes I may even break out a little bit with exfoliation now that I've gotten older. So I don't over exfoliate. If you have dry, mature skin like me and you over exfoliate, so you do 3-4 times a week, and you're using maybe a bit of a harsh product, you may be finding that it's just causing more dryness to your skin. So cut back your exfoliation. You shouldn't stop it, but just cut it back. I do it once a week and I find that that really works. There's a couple of great, very gentle exfoliators on the market. Clarins does a nice one. Avene does a very nice one. I get one from my lady who does my facials called Bioline. It's lovely, and I also use it a bit as a mask as well. So find one that really works for you and start to bring that in on a maybe weekly basis. If you find that you get good results and you can do it twice a week, by all means do that. Now, if you over exfoliate when you have oily skin, it can also cause problems. So balance what you're doing. Test out what works for you. If you have dry rosacea skin, mature, dry rosacea skin, you know, you're really going to have to be very careful with almost everything that you put on your skin of any kind of abrasiveness. So you have rosacea on your cheeks, you're going to want to just exfoliate around the areas and leave the rosacea alone, because you could get a bad flare-up. Same with your flannels and your face cloths. Make sure they're very soft when you're removing your makeup. I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know if you have rosacea, but it's something to be aware of, because you need to prepare your skin properly when you have rosacea as well. And if you can get around and exfoliate around the areas that you don't have rosacea, you're going to get better placement of your product and your makeup afterwards. So now that we've covered cleansing and exfoliation, I'm going to talk about a little, it's kind of a makeup artist secret. You may or may not have heard about this, but it's using ice cubes on your face, kind of massaging them around, getting the circulation going, and also helping with any puffiness. I use this on some of my clients that are doing red carpet type events, or they're very, very tired, mothers of the bride, mothers of the groom, that type of thing, where they're kind of stressed out and they need that little bit of help. They've got some puffiness. Maybe you've had that extra glass of red wine the night before you shouldn't have had, and you got some puffiness around your eyes. There's other tools on the market right now as well. There's these jade rollers. They help with circulation. They can also help if you put them in the, in the fridge or the freezer. They'll help with puffiness underneath the eyes. But the cheapest and easiest way to do it is really to just take an ice cube and put it into a very thin, very soft face cloth flannel, like so, and just massage this around wherever the puffiness is. You can massage this all over the face, and this is how I prep those clients of mine that really need the little bit of extra help. It really is, it feels amazing. It's great if you are one of these ladies that gets really hot when you're doing your makeup, and that's me right now. I'm under lights, or if I have even just my makeup light when I'm doing my own personal makeup, I deal with getting overheated. And just doing this beforehand can cool down the temperature of your body, your face, and just make the whole process of applying your makeup so much more pleasant. Are you going to do this every day? Probably not, because you don't have time. Maybe you do, but I don't have time to do this every day. But when I have, one of those really important events, or my clients have one of those really important events, this just works like magic on the face, and it feels amazing. You can do this up to a couple of minutes. You don't want to get carried away and put ice cubes directly on your face, because it can cause your capillaries to get worse. You don't want to be doing that, but just something quite like this, just a nice little flannel, putting ice cubes all over the face just to help cool it down, bring any puffiness down that you may have. It also is a makeup artist, celebrity makeup artists use this all the time, and it's a neat little trick if you're wanting to have your makeup last long. Believe it or not, cooling down the face like this helps your makeup last longer. All right, so now that we've got our face feeling nice and tight from that ice cube therapy that we just did, the next step will be to apply some kind of serum. Now, I really like using anything from a vitamin C serum in the morning to something like this, which is my go-to, which is my Clarins double serum. I just, the thing is, you don't want to have something too sticky, too thick underneath, especially in the morning. Leave those kind of serums for the evening. But you know, you want to have a nice serum that just does the job. And I find that this serum from Clarins, it just prepares my skin, gives it a nice little glow, feels amazing on the skin. You don't need much. I just did 2 little pumps and I just press that into the skin. And because I'm quite dry, it does not take long for products to get in, get happy with my skin, and settle. Okay, that's easy. Just a nice fast serum. Now I find this Clarins double serum, I find this works well on more mature skin that's dry, and also more mature skin that's combination or even oily. It seems to work on all skin types, and it's just a really good general serum that just works well on so many different skin types. Now, for those ladies out there that have very dry skin, like I do, the next step is optional, and it's optional if you really want to get a lot of moisture into your skin and that you have the time for this to absorb. I do this in the morning quite often because I like it underneath my makeup, but I make sure that I give my skin time for it to absorb. I'm going to use the Clarins Blue Orchid Face Treatment Oil. So you could go with any oil at this point. It doesn't really matter. Face oils are so wonderful. They do the job. I don't use very much, just a tiny little bit. And I just, again, pat this into my skin. The smell is amazing. Oh my gosh. It really helps to lift me up. Now, I get quite a bit of dryness around my nose area, so I like to really try to build that product in there. With my clients, I don't tend to use a lot of face oils because some women have issues with fragrance. If I know they're going to be okay and I ask them ahead of time, then I will apply a face oil. It can be any kind of face oil, from rosehip to squalene, whatever is good for you. I really like this one. It's one of my favorites. And I just pat that in to the skin. Now, you need to give this really 2 or 3 minutes to sink into the skin. Once that happens, then we can move on to our next layer. If you start applying all of these products and not giving them time to sink into the skin, then you're going to get a big old hot mess by the time you put on your makeup. Okay, now I've allowed that oil to sink in for about a minute or 2 here. I'm going to move on to eye products. So there's a couple of different things you can do. If you have time in the morning, you can apply an eye mask. There's masks that you can stick on that, you know, you can keep in the fridge or the freezer, and they get all nice and cold for you and they help with depuffiness. Or you could just do, this is a Clarins eye mask as well that you can leave on just for 10 minutes. You can do that, you know, after you've done your ice therapy. You can apply this mask and just let it sit. If you have time in the morning to do that, I also apply this at night and leave it on as an overnight treatment. Or you can just go in with something like this. This is a MAC, or whatever your favorite eye creams are. This is a MAC Fast Response Cream. The beauty of this cream, and reason why a lot of makeup artists carry it, is because it not only works for the eye area, it's great for those little patches. So if I have a client who's got excessively dry skin and maybe hasn't really taken care of their skin that well and needs to have that little bit of extra moisture, I just go in and I dab this in those little dry patches, and it works wonders, and it helps the makeup not settle too much into those dry areas. So I'm going to use my ring finger. Just take a little bit of this eye product, and I'm just going to pat it around my eye area. I use the ring finger, and I know you're told to do this, but it is a good idea because it is the more gentle of the fingers, so you're not going to be too abusive when you're applying this product. You need to be kind of careful around the eye area. And I just do it around the orbital bone, and I just let that sink in and do its work. Okay, so our next step in our skin preparation will be moisturizer. And there's all kinds of on the market, obviously. And you can combine your moisturizer with your sunscreen. I don't do that, but you can do that. I'm gonna be using a product called Embryolisse, which most makeup artists carry in their kit. It's called the 24-hour miracle cream. And I don't know about that, but I know that it's carried by most makeup artists for a reason. It has no silicone in it, but it really hydrates the skin. It can be used on oilier skin all the way through to the very dehydrated skin. It's really a fantastic moisturizer. Embryolisse also carries one called Hydramat, which also gives great hydration, but it's really good for women who have oilier skin. It's fantastic for more mature women who have oilier skin because it's got a little tiny bit of cornstarch that helps to absorb the oil, but it also gives a really good hydration, so you're getting that really good balance that you do need as you get a little bit older. The Lait Cream Concentrate, and I will post all of this information down below, okay, with explanations on how to use them, when to use them, and who they're good for. The Embryolisse Lait Cream Concentrate is a very good overall cream for women who have oily skin all the way through to the very, very dry skin. Gives an excellent base for makeup. The other one that I use quite often is the Neutrogena Hydra Boost gel. I really like it because it gives me that hydration that I need without too much slip. So I'm not going to have too much heavy product on my skin. It's just going to give me that right amount. There's another one that I do use as well called the Hydration Vaccine from Niode. I really like it as well, but it's quite a heavy silicone based, and we'll get into some silicone talk in a few minutes. But for today, I'm going to go in with my Embryolisse. I really like it. It gives me what I need and what I use this on. I would say 95% of my clients get this on their face. And I'm not going to put too much on. I just put enough on to give me the hydration that I need. And then I just pat this in as well. Now, we've got to let all of this sink into my skin. And that's going to take 2-3 minutes. So what steps can you cut out of this prep if you don't have time for all of this in the morning? So if you don't have time for all of this in the morning, you don't have to do the ice therapy. You absolutely have to cleanse your face, and you absolutely have to use some kind of moisturizer, and you have to use some sort of sunscreen. So if that's all you have time for in the morning, you're good to go, and that will still be a very good base, provided you keep up your exfoliation and you do your nightly routines really well and your skin's in good shape. That should be all you need. When we're doing this type of thing, it's for those events where you really want to look good and you really want your skin to look outstanding and you really want that makeup to just last for like 12, 15, 16 hours without a whole lot of worrying about whether it's going to start to sink into the skin or start to exfoliate off the skin. So keep that in mind. You don't have to do all of these steps, but these are the kind of things that pro makeup artists will do to prepare clients' skin so that they look fabulous from morning until late in the evening. All right, I've allowed my moisturizer to get into my skin, to get happy with my skin, and my skin's feeling really good right now and feeling very well prepared for makeup. Now I'm going to go in with my sunscreen. As I said before, if you have a moisturizer that is a combination sunscreen, that's going to save you time in the morning, but you know as well as I do, the zinc that's in sunscreen is really, it needs time to absorb into the skin. If you don't give it time to absorb into the skin, your makeup's not going to look good. That's just a fact. So you need to give it 2, 3, maybe even 4 minutes, depending on how strong your SPF is. I'm going in with the mineral one, the 30. I find this is all I need. I'm not a sun lover anyways, unless I was going to be laying on a beach, which I haven't done in so long. But if I was going to do that, then I would go in with the 50. But I'm fine with the 30. I just add this now on top of my moisturizer that's been absorbed into my skin quite well. And I put my sunscreen everywhere. I use a body sunscreen as well. And I do this whether I have a makeup or foundation that I'm going to be wearing that claims to have SPF in it as well, I also put on my sunscreen all the time. It's just what I do. It's really what we should all be doing every single day. This is not new for you ladies, I know. Now this you need to leave and you need to let it absorb because it has quite a high shine to it, and that's the zinc that's in it. So you need to give this a couple of minutes just to absorb into the skin before you move on. Okay, so the final step in preparing your skin is primers. So I get asked a lot from my clients, do I need to use primers? Which primer should I be using? How come this primer doesn't work with this foundation? And I have to be honest, I think that primers are probably the most overrated makeup product that's on the market. I think that brands sell primers, and a lot of times they're not needed for your day-to-day use. I'm not saying that you should never use primers. I carry primers in my kit. I sometimes use primers on myself. But if you've prepped your skin to this point, the way that we've just done here, and your skin is been taken care of, you take care of it regularly, and you have decent skin, there is absolutely no reason why you need to be applying a primer. Now, in general, there's two different primers on the market. The majority of them will be a silicone-based primer. The other will be a oil-free or water-based type of primer. And the reason why I don't think that they're always a necessary product to use is because most foundations today have silicone built right into them. So you may see certain foundations that say built-in primer or luminous or dewy. Those kind of buzzwords that you see on the packaging of any of your foundations usually means that there's a high amount of silicone in the product already. I'm going to post up here other words that are used in the ingredient list that mean silicone, because silicone comes under several different words, terms. And that's really what you should be looking for. And sometimes there's 3, 4, 5, 6 layers of silicone built into a foundation. The whole purpose for using a primer is so that your makeup does not sink into your skin too much. It's supposed to help. It's supposed to sit on top of the skin, and it really does do that. It helps the longevity of makeup. But if you already have a high amount of silicone in your foundation, using a primer underneath that has a silicone in it is kind of a waste of a product. In fact, you're probably just using too many silicones on your face, and you could have the opposite effect. You could have products slipping off your face too fast. So when would you use a primer? You use a primer if, and this is how I use them on my clients, if I want to get a particular glow in a certain area, I may use kind of a illuminating dewy type primer. The one that I carry in my kit, it's from a professional brand here, and it's from Veil is the brand, and it's called Sunlight Light. And I would use this maybe on areas like, and I would use a small amount. I don't stick it all over the face because it's really not necessary. And I would put it on areas where I'm looking to get a glow. I may also ask my clients, where do you have issues? Where does foundation tend to disappear on you? And if they tell me, well, it disappears in my T-zone, or I don't like the fact that I have all of these pores that show, I may go in with something like a Benefit Pore Professional. It's a really good primer. You would only use it in the area that you need it. You'd use a small amount like this, and you would put it around those areas where the client has, or my client has, or you have larger pores. Does this work completely? Absolutely not. There's other ways of controlling and hiding your pores better than just using a primer, but from day to day, it's a great product to use to get decent results. Maybe in another video, I'll get into some of the techniques. They're a little more advanced, but I'll get into some of the techniques that you can use with specific products that will help to diminish the look of large pores. Other reasons why you might want to use a primer. If you have a ton of red in your skin, you just naturally have a lot of red in your skin. There's all these primers on the market now that have color correctors. The color correctors are not as, they're not going to be as good as doing proper color correcting underneath your makeup, but you know, for everyday fast results, they do the job. They'll help to calm down the situation that you got going on in your face. So if you have a lot of red, you're going to look for a primer that has a little bit of green to it. You'll see them, they have like a green color. I think Makeup Forever does a whole line of these. If you have maybe sallow skin and you want it to look a little bit brighter, you would use maybe one that has a bit of pink coloring to it. Same with lavender. If you want to lighten up your skin a little bit, brighten up your skin a little bit, you know, you might want to go in with something that's got more of a purple type coloring to it. So, I mean, there's all of these on the markets. There are reasons for using primers, but you need to be aware of why you're using them, and you don't need to be slathering them all over your face on a daily basis. A really important thing to keep in mind is that your primers and your foundations need to work hand in hand. If you're going to use both, they need to work hand in hand. So, for instance, you couldn't use a water-based foundation and then put a silicone primer underneath it. If you did that, you get separation of the product. The oil and water thing don't mix. So you get pilling of the foundation. And a lot of times I hear that the foundation is no good and that's the foundation's problem. And it's actually not the foundation problem. It's because you're mixing oil and water. It's just not going to work for you. A lot of times that's what happens, is that it's not really the foundation's fault. It'll be the fact that the primers that you're using underneath are causing problems. So how do you know, whether a primer is a water base or whether it's a silicone base? The majority are going to be silicone base, but you're going to be looking for buzzwords. If you're looking for a water-based primer, you're going to be looking for buzzwords like pore control, pore deletion, pore minimization, oil control, those type of words, those type of buzzwords are the ones you're going to be looking for. The rest of them are going to be silicone based. They're going to feel quite slippy on the skin. And remember, if you're going to use them, make sure that they balance well with and work well with the foundation that you're going to be using. And make sure you only use it in the areas that you need it. Don't just stick these products on because you've been told to. Try to figure out, do I really need it? If I've prepped my skin and taken the time to take care of my skin and everything is the way it should be, I've used a really good moisturizer like Embryolisse or something like that that's giving me the right kind of moisture without it being too slippery, I really shouldn't need a whole lot of primers and a whole lot of products on top of that. I've done enough to my skin. So I'm kind of a little bit of less is more when it comes to these primers. Well, the hype is not always real with them, let's put it that way. Well, that is it for today. I thought what I would do is that I would do a series on foundations and how to choose foundations based on textures and formulations for women who are oily all the way through to dry, mature skin. Let me know below if that's something that you would like to know a little bit more about, and I will definitely do a series on that. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you found it interesting and useful. I'd love to hear your comments below. Thank you so much for watching and for subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Age Perfect Beauty.